Hello and welcome to USA 2024 on the road. I'm James Matthews and right now I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania.
I'm Martha Kelner and I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And I'm Mark Stone and I'm in Sky News' election night studio in the heart of Washington, D.C.
Sky News election studio, Mark. That's not natural territory for any of us.
Yeah, it's different, you know. I like being on the road, I like telling stories, but we have got one story to tell tonight, and it's going to be one heck of a story.
And Martha, where are you right now?
I've just pulled up outside the Philadelphia Museum of Art, which is where Kamala Harris is going to do her final campaign stop. And it's a pretty sort of blockbuster end to things. People may recognise the steps from the Rocky film. We're also expecting Lady Gaga, Oprah Winfrey, a whole host of stars as she drenches this final day on the campaign trail in stardust.
Yeah, last time I was at the Rocky Steps, the question in the car was, what's Philadelphia best known for? The Rocky film or the Declaration of Independence?
The Rocky film, obviously.
We've got less than 24 hours until the polls open.
Sorry, I'm getting you mid-pancake.
To get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news.
I'm not even registered to vote, but I was like, maybe I'll go register.
Let's vote! Let's get out the vote!
You're on Sky News more than I am. Anyway, on to the politics. It's finally here. The campaigning is done and voters are at the polls. Soon we will know who will be the next president of the United States. It's been busy for us covering the campaign, and I think we can bring you some sound of that.
Hey Siri, where's the nearest Starbucks?
One option I see is Starbucks.
Other heart starters are available, of course, but yet caffeine time, big time as America goes to the polls. We've seen both candidates cramming in appearances in the key swing states. Donald Trump has been to North Carolina 3 days in a row over the weekend. Harris has done several stops in Pennsylvania, 5 alone on Monday. Why do they do this, I wonder? Do they really think they can change people's minds at this late stage? Or is it more about getting their supporters to turn up at the polling station?
I think really the campaigns are aware that 99.9% of people have now made up their mind. But when the margins are so small, even just a few hundred people sitting on the fence is a big deal here. So I think they still think there are, these apathetic voters who may lean one way or the other, who could be persuaded by particularly the excitement around them in the final day. And I think that's why you see Harris bringing out so many celebrities with varied appeal. Just pulled up in the town of Hanover, which is in York County in Pennsylvania. It voted heavily Donald Trump in the last election, but interestingly, there's a brunch happening today at Fat Bat Brewing Company, and it's a Taylor Swift brunch. So there's the faint sound of Taylor Swift music coming from over the road. Just going to go in and see what people think about her endorsement of Kamala Harris and whether it will have any effect on the way that they vote. Sorry, I'm getting you mid-pancake. Will Taylor Swift affect your vote?
She will not affect my vote.
She's obviously endorsing Harris very strongly. Is that something you approve of, celebrities attaching themselves to?
I think they can say who they like. I don't think they should try to sway people one way or another, though. I think their opinion's their opinion, and that's okay, but everyone should get their opinion.
She's such a huge star, isn't she, though, and so influential that presumably it will affect some people's vote.
Absolutely.
Particularly that sort of younger generation.
I think so.
Vote at all, her being involved and coming out for Harris?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not even registered to vote, but I was like, maybe I'll go register.
Because Taylor?
Yeah, of course. I trust her.
Do you think she does have that authenticity that, say, Kamala Harris doesn't have on her own? You sort of trust Taylor?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because again, if it's up to me, I'm not voting for anyone, but if it's up to Taylor, I may go vote for Kamala.
And have you been, I presume you've been to her concerts before? Or?
Yes, I've gone 4 times to the Eras Tour. We went to Sweden, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so
if Taylor tells you who to vote for, then You're kind of going to go with her.
Yeah, I have to listen to my mom, you know.
I just think it's really great that she's using her voice. She obviously has a huge crowd of people. I think it's really great that she's using that to her advantage to help us in the final days of the election. So.
And are you a Harris fan?
I am, yeah.
Is she more powerful than any other celebrity, do you think, in informing political activism?
I don't think so. I definitely think there's some other people, but I mean, she definitely has a piece in it, I would think.
Which way will you vote on Tuesday, or have you voted already?
I haven't voted yet, but I'll be voting on Tuesday for Donald Trump.
Yeah. So Taylor's not going to sway your vote then?
Absolutely not. No musician or singer or athlete or anybody famous is going to swing my vote.
Does it affect your feelings about Taylor Swift at all?
Oh no, I'm a Swiftie.
I think that shows, it's obviously just anecdotal, but it shows that Taylor Swift can move the dial in terms of voters. I think we've seen a very judicious, deliberate deploying of celebrities by the Harris campaign. Jennifer Lopez wasn't going to come out on stage with Harris until those comments about the Puerto Ricans at that Trump rally. They thought then that she could provide an inroad to Latino voters. Also, we saw, Cardi B, a rapper who has this brilliant rags to riches story, grew up in poverty and became incredibly successful and incredibly wealthy. She was speaking on the campaign trail about Harris's pledge to support first-time home buyers. And so I think there is a deliberate strategy behind the celebrities that they've brought out on the trail with them.
And of course, Martha, Saturday Night Live, SNL, a prime time Saturday night network TV appearance.
I don't really laugh like that, do I? A little bit. Now, Kamala, take my Pamela. The American people want to stop the chaos
And end the drama.
Yeah, this didn't go down well with Team Trump, did it? They said they were denied equal opportunities by NBC to appear on Saturday Night Live. I'm not sure whether Donald Trump would have gone on anyway. He's certainly been displeased with their output over the past few years. But Kamala made this unscheduled detour. Even the press that were on the plane with her didn't know that they were heading to New York till they suddenly diverted there. And I have to say, I think in terms of being a pop culture moment, she hit the mark. She was with Maya Rudolph, who has been playing her for the past couple of months. And, she was funny. And actually, I was in York County, Pennsylvania, Swing County, one of the key places that Kamala Harris has to win. And I was in a kebab shop, actually, and was in the bathroom, in the stall. And there were two older women who were washing their hands. And one of the older women says to the other woman, "Do you need a paper towel, Jean?" I'll use the name Jean. I don't know whether do you need a paper towel, Jean? And she said, "Yeah, put it in my Pamela." And they then break out in this reenactment of the SNL sketch. So they're saying, "Yeah, keep Kamala and carry on, and then the other woman says, "Yeah, just hand me my pajamas." And I thought, how hilarious that in rural Pennsylvania they're reenacting Kamala's sketch on Saturday Night Live, and that probably tells you all you need to know about the appeal of that moment and how much she took advantage of it.
Yeah, bonus for the marketing team there.
And also the bit where she said, "Do I really laugh like that?" I mean, it was really self-deprecating. It was smart.
I think it also shows the human side of Harris, which her team have been really keen to try and get across, and have up until now, I would say, not done that well. I think there is still a slight likability issue with her, but from speaking to people close to her, they say she is a funny woman and she is willing to laugh at herself, and she's warm, I think, in a way that maybe Donald Trump isn't.
Well, I think people close to Trump will say, or do say, that he is unable to laugh at himself. So there was a real obvious difference there between the two characters.
On the contrary, Donald Trump's strategy is pretty limited when it comes to celebrities, but he does still have the backing of the likes of Hulk Hogan, the YouTuber Jake Paul, and of course, billionaire Elon Musk. Mark and Martha, we were all there, weren't we, at the RNC when Hulk Hogan came on stage and ripped off his T-shirt. What does that signify in terms of a political campaign, do you think?
Well, Trump would like to think it signifies strength, power, but I mean, Hulk Hogan, is he really still a crowd puller these days? I don't know.
He's a t-shirt puller.
He certainly is a t-shirt puller, and he's still with the Trump, as he might say. As are one or two others, Elon Musk, of course, the world's richest man, who has now been told by a court that he is allowed to give away $1 million. That went through a court proceeding in the last 24 hours. So that's a win for the Trump team. But look, beyond that, I don't think Team Trump has managed to pull many celebrities. That said, how much does celebrity power really matter? Well, as Martha said, it matters. It matters some, but I don't think it is everything. Of course, it's not. I've been struck, though, how things have shifted in terms of the last week, 10 days, in terms of momentum. It is clear. I was looking back at some pictures of Donald Trump 2 weeks ago. He felt like he had a spring in his step just 2 weeks ago, a spring that has completely gone. And Harris does seem to have an awful lot of momentum. It appears, certainly Team Harris would like to say, that she has peaked at the right moment. And I've spoken to a couple of Harris insiders over the course of the past 48 hours, and they certainly seem to be pretty happy with where they are now. But we'll see.
Yeah, the Harris campaign, Martha, they say they're aiming to close fully positive, to use their phrase. She didn't mention Donald Trump on stage, or she hasn't latterly. And, we've seen her campaign switching between attacks on Trump, calling him a fascist, etc., to focusing now on this kind of hope, this change narrative. Do you think she's landing that message?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how the campaign messaging has oscillated between attacking Donald Trump, describing him as, a threat to democracy, turning up with an enemies list. And then the last couple of days, she has very pointedly not been referring to him by name, as you said, instead been talking about him as the other guy. And the campaign privately are saying that the reason she's doing that is to centre her final day around a message of hope and unity and optimism, while Donald Trump seems to be descending more into targeting his base. He's decided he can't win over anyone else. He can't win over any independents. So he's appealing to sort of base instincts of his supporters and become, I would say, I don't know whether you would agree, but more extreme over the past week.
Yeah, I think you're right. And indeed, we've heard from him on stage, haven't we, in rallies talking about the Democratic Party as demonic, talking about the shooting of journalists and how he wouldn't mind that. Stuff that was very near the knuckle and absolutely in line with the kind of rhetoric that he thinks works, but his advisors continually tell him to avoid. They say focus on the economy, immigration. That's where we will win votes. But Donald Trump clearly feels he has to stir the base and thinks he knows best how to do that. It's all about the turnout, and we've heard him hammering home that message in the final day of campaigning. We'll look at the final moments of the Trump campaign in the second half and also be giving you our tips for what to look for once the votes start to be counted. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to USA 2024 on the road. We've been discussing if Kamala Harris has managed to land her message in her final blitz of the key swing states. What about Donald Trump?
4,000 feet. Went down there in rallies reporting northeast winds 5 miles an hour with good visibility.
We took a couple of flights, first to Raleigh in North Carolina, then to Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania. 54 minutes is our flight time this evening. I'm guessing within the boundaries of safety we can do it just a little more efficiently than that.
Going to Iowa where this new poll came out.
We were driving on to Reading in Pennsylvania.
Potentially Trump's last day on the campaign trail that started in 2015. So we wanted to capture a bit of that, the history of today really.
That was where Donald Trump was making a final day appearance, and the crowd were there in numbers. It wasn't a full Santander Arena downtown, but I reckon about 75%. They were certainly keen to talk about Donald Trump as they queued to get in to the big rally.
Hi mate, how are you doing?
Tell me, in a single word, one word, what's the biggest issue for you in this election?
Overall freedom. Freedom of healthcare. We were just talking about taxes, paychecks, just overall freedom.
Business, economics, and immigration. I'm not going to say it's one, but it's two.
What do you mean immigration?
Yes, I'm from India, buddy. I'm an immigrant too, but I love Trump, There is a tsunami at the border. And I know the ground reality. How many people are here and what they're doing, and what they're up to. It's a tsunami from the borders.
Well, Mom. She's on the phone a second.
All right.
Yeah. This is my 4th rally.
Wow. 4th rally. What age are you?
What? I'm 13.
13, wow. It's one for every 4 years.
What?
No, hang on. One for every 3 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody's trying to find us.
Should we start with the young man?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
He's a great talker.
All right. Why does Donald Trump appeal to young males like yourself?
I like the stories he says. I like how he speaks. I like how he is with his words. I like the videos he plays and stuff and the rallies. And I feel like I can connect with him.
All right. What's your name, mate?
Parker.
Thanks, Parker.
I don't know. Where are you from?
We're from Sky News in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I was with one of your reporters before, last rally.
What?
Yeah.
You're
always getting interviewed.
You're on Sky News more than I am. Thank you. Let me ask you this. The polls indicate that women tend to favour Kamala Harris and, well, not Donald Trump. Not yourself, obviously. You don't fit into that category.
No. I mean, I've always been a bit of more of a truth seeker for several years. It started out with learning about food and how our food is poisoned, and it sort of just went from there. Unfortunately, being a woman myself, I feel like I can say this, women do tend to vote more on emotion and feelings instead of logic and policies. So I tend to think that the Democrats play really, really well to that tendency.
What about Donald Trump's language, particularly around women?
Oh, I think Donald Trump loves women. I mean, and I don't mean that in any sort of negative way. I mean, the thing about Trump is that he's always brought minorities, women into his businesses in the past, and then all of a sudden he runs for president, and he's a big racist and a bigot. I don't buy it.
All right, gents, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. Where are you from?
Quakertown. Yeah, Quakertown, around here.
Oh, cool. Oh, great stuff.
Yeah, not too far.
We're from Sky News in the UK.
Oh, cool.
Let me ask you, mate, in a single word, what's the biggest issue for you in this election?
Probably immigration. Probably because it affects everything else. Money, losing a lot of money, and safety.
Definitely the economy. I feel like it encapsulates pretty much like all the issues, all the policies affect the economy. So the economy for sure.
And Donald Trump's your choice to fix that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 4 years under him versus 4 years under here, it's easy to see.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's night and day.
Yeah, it's night and day. It really is. Black and white. It is.
Yeah.
The polls tell us that women favour Kamala Harris, but the younger male vote, people like yourself, lean towards Trump. Why is that?
We've been left behind. We've been kicked down, as Oliver Anthony put it, and they're kicking us while we're down.
Yeah.
Men are just, and white men in particular, are just seen as the worst of the worst for whatever
White Christian
reason.
men for sure.
Yeah, it's all just.
It's gotten more and more radical.
Yeah, it's make believe. So.
And how does that manifest itself? What does being left behind mean?
For the emotional toll and.
To be honest with you, the biggest part is that their scholarships and job opportunities so much less if you're white and Christian, because they will turn you down because of your skin color. So it's crazy.
I mean, hopefully that's turning around sometime soon.
Just tell me your ages.
Sorry,
I'm mumbling foreigner. Trump was on his closing out tour of the battleground states, his final stop being Grand Rapids in Michigan. There has been controversy, of course, about the content that he has delivered on stage as he closes his campaign. Let's have a listen to some of it.
And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind a large group of people, larger than people think, but it's a very demonic party. It's become that way. The people aren't. The people, Democrats, regular Democrats aren't.
Fix the mic. You gotta be kidding. Do you want to see me
knock the hell out of people backstage? You want to see?
There you go, Donald Trump live and unleashed. It's pantomime stuff, which has become normal, part of the political discourse in the United States. Americans have been listening to that kind of material for the past 8 years. They have also been listening to his opponents spinning that rhetoric for all it's worth. They say that's a draft script for a dictatorship, framing this election as a choice between recklessness and responsibility. I suppose it comes down to the voter. That's Tuesday's big decision for them. I wonder what you make of Trump's internal polling, because the way he has been barnstorming states like North Carolina, 4 visits in the few days running up to the poll. And I wonder if that indicates that they are concerned about the standing in those key states, the likes of North Carolina, hugely important.
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is interesting because that is a state that Republicans thought was in the bag. And indeed, the Democrats thought was a lost cause not all that many months ago. The fact that he has been there so much suggests that they really feel like it is very tight and that Harris could win it. I think Pennsylvania, we always knew that was tight, and that's why we've seen Harris crisscrossing Pennsylvania an awful lot just in the last day. So both sides know how tight that is. Look, I mean, they must be exhausted, absolutely exhausted. And remember, Donald Trump he's nearly 80. So I don't know how he's managing, even with his first class, well, not even for his private jet travel around the place. I don't know how he's managing to keep this going. Maybe he's not. Maybe that's why we've seen some quite rambling stuff from his speeches over the course of the past week or so.
Before we head off to get ready for the vote count, let's have a look at some of the moments we should be looking out for overnight. Martha, tell us where you're going to be and what are you going to be looking for?
I'll be at Howard University, which is Kamala Harris's alma mater. It's where she's spending her election night. And I'd expect, at least at some point on Tuesday evening, to hear from Kamala Harris herself inside Howard University, speaking to her supporters. And who knows what way this race is going to go. I think there have been optimistic signs in the polling for her in the past few days, but this race is still very much teetering on knife edge.
And what about states to look out for?
I'm going to be interested to see what happens with Arizona and Nevada. There are 10 states this election that have abortion as a down ballot measure. Some experts, some strategists say that those states with abortion as a down ballot measure, it may actually affect the presidential race. So Arizona and Nevada, 2 key swing states that have abortion as a down ballot measure. So I'll be interested to see whether that has any bearing on the presidential election too.
Mark, you're going to be in the Sky News studio. Tell me what you're going to be looking out for.
Yeah, it's going to be a marathon. We go on air at 10 p.m. UK time, so make sure you don't watch anywhere else.
As if.
You'll get all the best coverage through the night. We're on for a marathon, 12 hours. I think big moments will be 7:30, half past midnight London time, is going to be North Carolina. For me, North Carolina is a fascinating state because if Harris wins North Carolina, then her path to 270, that's the number of electoral college votes that she needs to win the White House, is made a lot easier. If she doesn't win North Carolina, then she can still find a path. There are still quite a few paths to the White House. But winning North Carolina for the Harris team would be a big, big moment indeed. It would be a bad moment for the Trump team. So that's one to look out for. I've got an interest as well in Michigan, the so-called blue wall, those Great Lakes states in the north of the country, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, we probably won't get results tomorrow overnight. They will take time. Michigan, we might. That is a key state. It's a must-win state, really. And for me, the Arab American vote there, which is something we've been looking into quite a lot. Could Trump chip away at traditional Democratic voters among the Arab American community because of Gaza, because of woke issues? Maybe. So I'm certainly going to be looking at that as well. But I think, the Harris team have said to us over the course of the past day that they expect near complete results overnight from Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Virginia, Florida, Ohio, and Colorado. So really interesting, quite a few states there. Partial results from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin and Arizona, but then fuller results from those key states, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, later. So we may not get a result overnight. We may get a result. So it's going to be a roller coaster for sure.
What did you make of the poll that showed a 3-point lead for Harris in Iowa?
Yes.
Of all places.
Yes, the Iowa poll, the outlier or the truth. That again, I didn't mention that, but Iowa's result will be fascinating too, because it was an extraordinary poll. When Joe Biden was the candidate running against Donald Trump, Trump had a 20-plus point lead in Iowa. It's a ruby red state. It is not a state that the Democrats thought they had any chance in. And then this one well-respected pollster came out a couple of days ago with a poll suggesting that Harris, in fact, had a 3-point lead. Look, insiders I've spoken to say they don't actually expect Harris to win Iowa. That would be an extraordinary result. But let's see, if she doesn't win, how much does she lose by? If it's very close, then that could translate to a good night for her in other northern states, the swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania.
Well, here in the Sky Studio, I'm going to be down in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, at the convention center, which is where Donald Trump is holding his watch party. The great and the good, of course, of the MAGA movement will be there, and we expect we'll hear from Donald Trump at some point during the night. Quite what we hear isn't certain, but his opponents are predicting through the night at some point he will take to the stage and claim victory, which has all sorts of ramifications, of course, amidst all the talk of legally challenging the result. If Harris wins officially in time, then there are many looking at the Trump speech on the night as the starting point for the big challenge, which of course may last weeks, months, who knows. But that'll be quite the occasion, quite a speech, quite the appearance by Donald Trump on stage in the middle of the night at some point.
Look, I think the truth is both sides are spinning this. You talk to insiders on both sides, they will tell you that they are confident. The truth is, who knows what will happen? That is what is going to make it an extraordinary and very exciting night. It is going to be long, though. 12 hours. I mean, we were trying to work out how do we go to the loo? And they said, well, we just have to make sure that all the other cameras are elsewhere, looking elsewhere. And then you've got to run to the loo and come back again quickly.
I remember David Dimbleby being asked that on TV some years ago. And he said, well, I don't need to go to the loo because I sweat so much under the TV lights.
Oh, well, that's the other thing we've been worried about is that Yalda is too cold and Mark Austin is too hot. So there's been a bit of debate about the temperature. It keeps going up and down in the studio. The poor old studio manager is like, what do you want, hot or cold? It'll be fun. It'll be great fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Compelling television indeed, Mark. Okay, that's it. We've officially run out of road. We are off to get ready for the big night ahead. Before we go, though, I want to take you back to that coffee shop we're not naming for a second time. And since you're with us on the road, you need to know this. We ordered an egg muffin to take away. Just stick it in the bag, we said. And this was the reply.
They can warm it up and then I'll just eat it cold later. They have to warm it up by law.
You have to cook the egg before you can take it out of that well-known coffee shop. Who knew?
2 countries separated by a common language and a lot more.
And the state of an egg McMuffin. We're not as fussy as they are. Anyway, listen, really no excuse not to stay up and watch Sky News as we cover the US election 2024. Just in case you absolutely have to go to sleep at some point, we've got you covered on this, our podcast. We're going to be recording updates throughout the night, so by the time you wake up in the morning, you can catch up with everything that you missed overnight. Hopefully, we'll see you then.